Hi, I'm Csongor Daniel. I'm here to teach you how to stop headaches under 5 minutes, even without touching the body. And if you stick with me, I will teach you how to induce healing and stop all other pain and restore health through bioenergy healing. I have been a bioenergy healer for more than 30 years, and I have worked on just about any problem, starting with simple headaches to the most complicated medical conditions. And I can tell you this type of healing definitely works. And you will also learn how to do it. Before we start, let me ask you a few questions. Are you a Star Trek fan? Have you ever seen a Star Trek episode? When they communicate, what do? They go, they hit their little sign, and they go, "Scotty, beam me up," or whatever else they communicate at the time. Now, back in the 60s, when these episodes came out, how much would you have paid for such a device, a communication device like that? Probably thousands of dollars, right? Today, you go like this. "Honey, I'm on my way home. Should I pick up some milk or bread or whatnot," right? So we all have these little devices, and they cost next to nothing nowadays. Even better, what about Dr. McCoy when he pulled out his little device that was the size of a modern cell phone, and he put it on the injured area, and he would scan it, and then at the same time he would, I don't know, hit a switch and fix the same problem with that little device. How much would you pay for something like that today? Instead of going to the hospital, you just pick up your little cell phone device and you would fix the issues, right? Would you pay 10 grand for something like that? Of course you would. Every household would need some, right? But that device doesn't exist today. However, there is something better. And I will teach you how to use that device that you already have within you to do the same exact miracles. Well, these are not miracles. We call things miracles when we can't explain them. But this is completely explainable. And that's what we're going to do today. We'll talk about the energy, what causes pain, and how to stop it. So what is bioenergy healing? Actually, what is energy healing in general? Energy healing is the oldest healing method. It has been around since the cavemen. Think about it. What happens when you hit your elbow? You grab it right away, right? And then you rub it a little bit and the pain reduces. Why? Well, what happens, there is a tremendous amount of energy that comes to this area when you hit it or when you injure it. So with this, you spread it out. You also rub off a little bit on your nerves and the muscles, and it kind of reduces the pain. But subconsciously, you are already moving the energy. What happens when your child gets injured? Let's say your son hits his knee, and the same thing happens. You go there, you touch it, rub it, kiss it, right? So there's a lot of psychological aspect to it, because mom or dad came and rescued. However, you also did some subconscious energy healing. Energy is everywhere, and it travels throughout our bodies, and it has been part of us since the beginning of time. We just don't really pay much attention to it, but it is there. Your body is naturally a healer. Your body will heal its own injuries. However, we can help that. Now think about it. You cut yourself. Is it the Band-Aid that heals your little wound? No, it's your body that does it. The Band-Aid just covers it up so no bacteria goes in, no blood is dripping on your clothes. So it helps, but it's your body that does the healing. When you get a cold, is that the vitamin C and the echinacea and the Tylenol or whatever you take that helps? No, again, it's your body that does its own healing. These things just make your life a little bit less miserable, right? So you are already a healer. Now I will try to explain how this works. What is this energy I'm talking about? First of all, let's see what what makes this body a body. It kind of appears solid, right? A little bit flexible, but more or less solid. Now we know that about 70% of this is water, right? Now if I start jumping around, can you hear it splashing around? Of course not, because that water is not in one container. It's contained in a gazillion, well, trillions of tiny little cells in your body. These cells appear to be like balloons. Think of some balloons filled with water and maybe some spongy substance, but mainly water. Now, let's look inside this one individual cell. Let's imagine that we have a high-power microscope that can go inside and show us what's in that one individual cell. Let's go deep inside at a higher resolution. We could find molecules. In this case, water molecules, which are comprised of hydrogen and oxygen, which are gases. So at molecular level, we would see, if we could see it, we would see balloons filled with gas this time. So it's getting very thin. Now let's go deeper into those molecules and look for atoms. This is where you need to open your minds a little bit, because it kind of becomes a little bit complicated and kind of crazy. The atomic structure is similar to the solar system. If you never learned it in school, think of the solar system. You have the sun in the middle, and you have planets traveling around it on certain distances. However, do not think of what was on your teacher's desk. On your teacher's desk, you may have found a model of the solar system with the sun in the middle, and on tiny little wires, you had the planets around it, right? The whole model was maybe this big. It's not up to scale. Actually, it's very far off scale. Let's try to imagine that the sun is the size of a pea. Pluto would be about 1.5 miles away, and it would be the size of a bacteria. Yet it still keeps going around this sun, connected to it by this invisible force we call gravity. Now, this was just a little bit to help you imagine it. Let's go back to the atom. In the atomic structure, you have a nucleus in the middle, which is positively charged, and you have electrons traveling around on certain distances, which are negatively charged. There's a formula how many electrons can be on what level, and on and on and on, so it's nothing new. However, none of us really can look at a simple atom and see these particles. But now we can imagine it. Science has gotten to that point. So let's magnify this time this nucleus, about to the size of a pinhead, and stick it in the middle of a stadium. The closest electron would be about, well, outside the stadium. Now, this time we can't even imagine how tiny that electron would be. We don't even know if it's really matter or just a dense energy. This electron is very frisky. It flies around that stadium, around that nucleus, so fast that you could never really see it. And it covers every part of the stadium at any given moment. So if we could actually see it by naked eye, we would see a giant ball the size of a stadium. Inside, we know that it's 99.999999999% empty space. There's tiny little matter in it. And even that is hard to imagine that is really matter. As a matter of fact, if we would make that space disappear within that atom, or within all atoms, the entire human race would fit in to one sugar cube. That's how tiny the matter is, if there really is some matter. Now, you take one of these empty space atoms, and then you get another atom, which is also very similar, and then another one, another one, another one, put them all together, a bazillion of those, and you end up with this. But deep down, we know that 99.9999999% of this is actually empty space. And it's not just my body, it's everything in the universe. Everything is made of atoms, everything has electrons, everything has this empty space in it. The structure may be different, the way these atoms are put together, so some things can be hard like a desk or a table, some things are soft, but everything can somehow be changed. The difference is that that table or desk will always have the same energy all the time until you somehow destroy it, somehow burn it up chemically, or somehow change it. That's the only time that energy changes. Our energy changes all the time, and it depends on many, many, many things. And we'll discuss that a little bit more in the future. Just, I want you to open your eyes and think of this, not just flesh and bone. Think of this as energy. Once you open your mind to it, everything is possible. Now this energy field is constantly moving and changing. As I said, the desk and the table, they all stay the same. Every living being has an energy field that is in constant change. You may see in your flowers, if they whittle, you give them a little bit of water, the flowers will change. Now, that was the influence of the water that was missing. But have you ever tried to talk to your plants? How about a little experiment? You go to Home Depot or somewhere, buy 2 plants that are the same size, same type, same everything. Give them the same amount of water, same amount of sunlight, put them kind of close to each other. But every day, go to one of them and be nice to them. Give them good energy. Talk to it. Hey baby, how you doing today? Oh, you're looking awesome. And so on. Oh, give all the positive to one plant and ignore the other one. And see what happens. I bet the plant that you're nice to will grow much faster and bigger than the other one. Or you can make it even more drastic. Whenever you have a bad moment, or you're pissed off or stressed, go to the other plant and give it all. Then see the difference between the two. And these are just plants. Same goes with animals, same goes with humans. We are all influenced by this energy. Even if you are into just Newtonian physics, you know that energy doesn't appear or disappear. It just changes form. So when you eat your Big Mac or whatever you put in your mouth, that mechanical movement and then the process of that food will turn it into some kind of a thermal or a kinetic energy. But deep down, it all turns into what we talked about from quantum physics, a little bit different energy. Now the human body is very peculiar. This energy is all the way around us, forming an egg shape, probably as far as you can reach. Now this changes again all the time. It pulses. When you have a good day, your energy is wider. When you have a bad day, your energy is a little bit weaker. So this is what we're trying to influence. Everything in the universe is supposed to be in a certain balance. All the planets keep following their suns. There's always certain distance between everything, but everything is also in a constant movement. Nothing ever stops. Thus your energy never stops either. It's in a constant movement. Let's go back to Star Trek again. Think of this energy as a shield around the spaceship Enterprise. So when they're attacked, the shield protects them. If the shield gets weak, the ship becomes vulnerable. Our bodies work in a similar way. So when we have a nice, strong energy around us, we have a strong immune system, we're protected. When the energy gets weak, that's when problems will happen. Not necessarily. However, bigger problems happen when there are individual areas around the body where you have too much energy or too little energy. Why does that happen? Many reasons, tons of reasons. Also, we have to remember that this energy moves. It goes up in the front and goes down in the back. Think of the Earth's magnetic field, almost like half of it, constant movement. Now, when this stops moving or gets stuck, too much energy can accumulate in one area, too little gets to the other area, and problems happen. What changes this energy? Why does it happen? Why does it happen like that? And don't worry, we'll get into some more simplified ways of explanation so you'd understand it even more and you learn how to manipulate and feel this energy. As a matter of fact, today you will learn how to feel it, and maybe next time you learn how to see it and do some other really, really interesting things with it. So number one thing that you can't live without, what is it? Well, it's the air. You can't really breathe without it. I mean, you can't live without it, right? We don't really see it, but it's around. We can't live without it. So we don't really have to go much into it. But think of the air in Beijing or somewhere in a nice Caribbean beach or in a nice forest. It's different, right? Where do you feel better? Of course it influences you. Let's put that aside. Let's go to the next thing. What's the next, number two thing that you can't live without? It would be water, right? Well, there's a huge difference between one water and another, and we could talk about this forever. But of course, water is very important, and you have to get the right water in the system. We'll get into more details in the future about that, since it's very important. What's the number three thing that you can't live without? It would be food. Now about food, we could probably go into another week of talk. It will definitely influence you. Nowadays you can Google everything because the food pyramid has been changing a lot. But there are some simple rules on what to put in your body, in your temple, and we'll talk about that more in the future as well. What else would influence our energy and push it into change? Well, we claim that this energy is electromagnetic in nature, right? So obviously other electromagnetic fields would influence it, right? So anything around you that's TV, computers, high power lines, everything that has electricity in it will somehow influence you. Think about it. You have thousands of different radio waves going through you, other electromagnetic radiation, cell towers around you. Everything will get some influence into or change your energy somehow. More details coming up. Now what's the next thing that would influence you? Okay, there are some things that you probably never heard of, like cosmic radiation that constantly hits the Earth. It changes sometimes. Or geopathic zones that are underground. We don't even see them. There can be underground waters or caves, caverns, different shapes and forms of matter that will influence your energy if you spend too much time in those areas. Also something for the future to talk more about. What would be the next thing that changes your energy? Think about it. If I'm electromagnetic, and you are, everybody else is, right? So other people will also influence your energy. We all have those good friends, they show up and they're just like big smile and you can see their energy being so big, they come into the room and make everybody happy, right? And also we have at least one friend, all of us do, who is always negative and who will come into the same room and you just feel like, oh, not again. How you doing? Same crap, different day. Boom, there's your little negative response. While your positive friend will go, yoo-hoo, everything is great. And just for the moment, think about who you like to spend time with. How does that influence you? Why? And then you will come to the most important part that will influence your energy. What is it? Right here, your own mind. Your brain is the biggest influence on your health. Think about it. When you think you can do something, you will. When you think you can't do something, you're still right. So everything that you think will eventually happen. If you think you're healthy, you're usually healthy. If you think you're sad and you're sick, and that stays in your mind, that is what is going to happen with you. This energy is the most influenced by your own brain. Your energy literally can fluctuate a large space just by one single thought. And we will also do some experiments in the future and show you how that's done. It's very easy to see when we learn how to see the energy, because you can do that too. You can also learn how to feel it, and we'll do that in a few minutes anyway. So, how does the brain really influence this energy? Let's go back to what this energy looks like. Again, think of an egg shape around you, just as far as you can reach. This would be a healthy aura, still fluctuating but healthy. Even if the whole energy gets a little bit weaker, it's no big deal. If it gets bigger, of course it's better for you. But in this flow, in this constant flow, up in the front, down in the back, a little obstacle can happen for some reason. To give you a quick example, modern times, everybody has a cell phone, right? You look down at your cell phone, already your head is not straight up. You're fighting gravity. Eventually, the neck muscles will start getting tighter and tighter and will reduce space and will become dense where the energy can't flow through properly. So back here, the energy will stop and it will start accumulating around your head. Boom, excess energy always accompanies pain. Well, always, 95% of the time. It's a better comparison. So, not enough energy goes down through the spine, too much accumulates around the head. So it's not only one problem, it may create many other different problems. Now what do you do when you have a headache? You pop a few pills, right? And you wait for it to numb, and the headache is gone. You haven't really fixed the problem. You don't know why you got the headache. You just numb it, ignore it, and move on, right? What would be your other option? Well, you could call me. It would take me about 2 minutes to take that excess energy off, shake it off, get rid of it, and the headache is gone just like that. It literally takes 2 minutes. Now, if you're not a gifted healer, you've never done this, you can still learn how to do it within 5 minutes. Let's get started.